Okay, so we're going to do the same thing we did yesterday, except today we're going to do it with fractions. Don't make that face. Do not sigh. Fractions are your friends. Repeat after me. Fractions are my friends. I like fractions. I like fractions. No whining. We're going to do this. So, when we multiply, what do I do with my exponents? Add. When I divide, what do I do with my exponents? So to add and subtract a fraction, you have to have a common denominator. So if I have this, 3/4 minus 1/4, I get 2/4, which is a half. But if I'm adding or subtracting, either one, I have to have a common denominator. So what is the common denominator of the 3 and the 2? 6. So 3 goes into 6 how many times? 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 goes into 6 how many times? 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Now they're over common denominators, and you can add. 2 plus 3 is 5, 6. Just for the record, adding fractions is a 4th grade skill. If you do not know how to do this, Khan Academy, adding and subtracting fractions, or getting a common denominator. If I'm multiplying 1/3 times 1/3, you multiply across the top. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9. And we multiply when we raise to the exponent, right? So when we add, so when we're multiplying, we add. When we're dividing, we're going to subtract. And when I raise to the exponent, I'm going to multiply. Okay? Easy peasy. So, what? Okay, again, Khan Academy, 4th grade skill. Adding and subtracting and multiplying fractions. All right, so here I'm multiplying, so what do I do with the exponents? I'm going to add them. So I get 2/3 plus 4/3, which is 8 to the 6/3. And since we're big kids, we're going to call this 8 to the 2nd. And what is 8 to the 2nd power? All day. So here, I'm multiplying. So 2 times 4 is 8. And then I'm going to get b, and I'm going to add my exponents. So I have 5/3 plus 7/3, which is 8b to the 12/3, and 12, yes. Because these are common bases, right? So if I had x to the 2/3 times x to the 4/3, we wouldn't get x squared, would we? We'd just add the exponents. The base doesn't change. So the base didn't change here. But these are coefficients. Okay? So you have to multiply. So I get 8b to the 4th. Okay, look, nobody fell out of their chair yet. This is okay? Don't fall out of your chair. All right, so this is the multiplying we added. So now I'm going to divide, so what am I going to do with the exponents? Subtract. So again, look, the 7s are the same, so it's going to stay 7, and I'm just going to subtract. So 5/8 minus 3/8 gives me 2/8, and can we reduce that to 7 and 1/4? So now, this one, the next one, I have 16 x to the 7th ninths divided by 4 x to the 4 ninths. So I have to divide. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And then what do I do with the exponents? Subtract. So 7 ninths minus 4 ninths gives me 3 ninths, which is 4x to the 1/3. Okie dokie. I told you they're your friends. Fractions are your friends. All right, when I raise, this is the last one the last kind we're gonna do. And so when I raise to an exponent, I'm gonna multiply. And so when I multiply, I'm gonna put a 1 under the 2. So I'm gonna get y to the 10/7. On this one, you have to be careful because we're still going to multiply, but you have to do both things inside, right? So I'm going to get 10 to the 3/2, and then x, and I'm going to put the 1 under the 2. So I get 6 divided by 2. What is 6 divided by 2? 3. So I get 10 to the 3/2, x to the 3rd. Yes? Khan Academy, multiplying fractions. Okay, so the only two that we're going to do that are algebra 2, and the reason they qualify as algebra 2 is because I have a negative exponent. And what does a negative exponent mean? If it's on top, where do you move it? And make it? So is that hard? That's the only thing that qualifies for algebra 2. All right? So we're raising to the 4/3. So that means multiply. And you have to do everything inside the parentheses. So I'm going to get 2 to the 4/3, x to the 4/3, and y, I'm going to put a 1 under the 6. So negative 6 times 4 gives me negative 24/3. So what is negative 24/3? Negative 8. So it's not happy on top, so where does that negative 8 have to go? To the bottom. So I'm going to have 2 to the 4/3, x to the 4/3, y to the 8th. Woo! So on h, before I start this one, can I simplify what's inside the parentheses? Because it makes it easier, doesn't it? What happens to the x's here? They cancel, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So I have 2 to the negative 1/2. So the negative means that I have to move it where? To the bottom. So when I do that, I get 2 to the 1/2, and can I just leave it like that? What do I have to add? I have to add a 1.